Hey Trojans, welcome back to an all-new episode of The Morning Brew. I'm your host, Jillian Russell.
And I'm your other host, Noah Kim.
As you can tell, today we are in costume.
Wow, Jillian, I had no idea we're in costume. Wow, I just, decided to wear this for class and have fun, but yeah.
Well, you look great. Pretty casual look, if I do say so myself.
Thank you.
Today we really wanted to get into the spooky spirit for Halloween, and while we wanted this episode to be all about Halloween, there is also a larger issue that we'd like to talk about.
Yes, of course. In light of the current issues going on campus, we want to dedicate the last part of this show to talk about how the importance of ending sexual assault on campus.
Exactly. And that's why we're having our host, our producer later today, Sophia Mazzella, who actually attended the protest. This is an issue that's very important to her. We'll be sitting down with her later this morning to chat about it in detail and talk about some solutions. We're in this together, Trojans. It's a really heavy topic, but we did want to start off by saying that today, and of course, happy Halloween. But Noah, should we get into some news?
Absolutely. Take us away, Jillian.
Of course. So our first story for today is about Sudan's Prime Minister, Abdullah Hamdok, and his wife, who were kidnapped while protests erupted around the country against an apparent military coup. 7 protesters were killed and dozens were injured. Civilian leaders and their military counterparts have been at odds since longtime ruler Omar al-Bashir was overthrown 2 years ago. Troops are reported to have been going house to house in the capital, Khartoum, to arrest local protest organizers. The coup has been condemned around the world, and the U.S. halted $700 million aid, calling for the Prime Minister's release. Speaking of other parts of the world, Japan's Princess Mako, the emperor's niece, has finally married her commoner college sweetheart on Tuesday and left the royal family for good. The years-long engagement was beset by scrutiny that has left the princess with post-traumatic stress disorder. Mako and fiancé Kei Komuro were originally celebrated, but then tabloids reported on a money scandal involving Komuro's mother. Analysts say the problem is that the imperial family is so idolized that not the slightest hint of trouble with things such as money or politics should touch them. With all that's going on in the world, it's nice to see love conquer all. What do you think, Noah?
Absolutely. I'm glad to see that. But unfortunately, we have some tragic news as well. Last week, director of photography Haylene Hutchins was killed in a prop gun accident on the set of Rust. New reports claim star Alec Baldwin was practicing drawing his gun when the prop gun fired, which fired Hutchins and injured director Joel Souza. Before the accidental discharge, one crew member said the gun was announced as a no-fire or cold weapon for the scene. A second crew member asked multiple times if the gun was cleared for use in the shot and did not receive a clear answer. The rifle that misfired was not supposed to be loaded at all. We will continue to wait for updates on this horrible tragedy. But in other news, a cyclone storm that hit the West Coast over the weekend was reported by scientists to be linked to climate change. California's arid desert climate has seen a big change with a heavy rainfall and hurricane force winds in the past few days. Rainfall records were broken at all-time highs in various locations, leading to floods and landslides, while the Sierra Nevada mountains have seen multiple feet of snow in the past few days.
Wow, Noah, I don't know about you, but this week there was so much rain on campus. And as a Southern California girl myself, I could not handle it. But just one more pitch stood between the Los Angeles Dodgers winning Game 4 of the World Series against the Braves, who won 7-6 and took a 3-1 series lead. The Braves will now advance to their first World Series in 22 years, while seeking their first title in 26 years, in a duel with the Houston Astros. The Dodgers, meanwhile, will go home having failed to win consecutive championships for the first time in franchise history, and still having yet to win a full season World Series championship since 1988. Wow, that is so crazy. I know we have a lot of LA Dodger fans at USC. Personally, I am an Angels fan. What about you, Noah?
Well, I mean, I'm not a big fan in sports, but that pun you just made makes me want to leave the set right now.
Well, who's the real winner today then?
In other news, an atmospheric river storm brought heavy rain to Los Angeles and California. Despite the record-breaking rain, there is a broad consensus among climate experts that the drought isn't going to vanish after the storm passes. However, long-range forecasts show there might be movement for better and worse, depending on the region. The rain was definitely a surprise for USC students this week. Especially, speaking of which, how about we get into some USC news?
Sounds good to me. So let's shake up this segment just a little bit, quite literally. Last Thursday, USC participated in the Great California Shakeout, an annual earthquake drill with over 7 million participants across the state. The drill is coordinated by the Southern California Earthquake Center, headquartered at the Zumberg Hall of Science at USC. Since it was founded in 2008, the Shakeout has become an international event with over 30 million participants across the world, ranging as far as Japan and New Zealand. I was taking part in the Shakeout. Did you?
Well, I was in the comfort of my home, sleeping. Didn't even wake up. But in other news, USC football lost 31-16 last weekend to rival Notre Dame, the team's fourth straight loss to the Fighting Irish. USC football is currently 3 wins and 4 losses and looks to bounce back against next week with a home game against Arizona.
And speaking of Trojan football, this also marks the Saturday of the month where USC's big homecoming football game will happen, and of course, USC reunion weekend. There are a ton of tailgates happening, so be sure to go check it out, including a special homecoming out tailgate held by the Lambda LGBT Alumni Association. Stop by Herklot's courtyard at USC 4 hours before kickoff to connect with fellow LGBTQ+ Trojans and enjoy food, drag bingo, and more.
In need of spooky Halloween plans, well, trick-or-treat yourself at the USC Village Boo Bash, which all community members are welcome to attend this Sunday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. The family-friendly event will feature live music, a costume contest, and of course trick-or-treating from participating stores. Costume contest winners can even win a $100 gift card, so make sure you come dressed to impress.
Speaking of dress to impress and fun costumes, we have a very special segment today. Have you seen a walking Trojan Check or even a walking refrigerator around campus? Well, today might just be your shining opportunity. Our Morning Brew correspondents took a stroll around campus asking students about their upcoming Halloween plans. Let's take a look at some student costume ideas.
I don't know if I really like this. I don't know, it's giving me basic goth. I wonder where else I should be. I'm gonna go ask the students of University of Southern California. Let's go. So can you guys tell me, what's your Halloween costume for this year?
I'm gonna be Mavis from Hotel Transylvania one night, and then another night I'm gonna be Lola Luftnagel from Hannah Montana, which is like Lola's alter ego.
Either Garfield or John from Garfield.
Something to do with Eddie Murphy costume with my roommate, so like, I do it.
I'm gonna be Captain Underpants.
A sailor.
A sailor.
I'm also being a sailor, and then one night we're doing both.
Charlie's Angels?
I'm gonna be Barbie.
I'm wearing a women's nurse costume.
A women's nursing costume.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice. Refrigerator. What do you think is the most overdone Halloween costume?
Like the angel one. That
Or the
costume.
devil one.
Yeah, those two.
A witch.
I think it's the purge masks. This year is going to be very much Squid Game oriented, and I already know that it's coming. So I feel like after the first 10, I'll be like, we get it, we watched it.
What do you guys like most about the Halloween season?
Fall vibes.
Candy, yeah.
Hot take candy corn.
I like candy.
Candy corn is my favorite part of Halloween. I love candy corn.
My roommate loves candy corn. I don't get it.
It's kind of good to munch on. I don't know, like biting it, nibbling it, kind of good.
Do you guys remember what your first Halloween costume was? We had to think back.
I was probably a pumpkin.
I would say, I think I'm a pumpkin too, yeah.
I think it was Abraham Lincoln or Benjamin Franklin. Either one, but I did win the competition when I was in school, so.
After some pondering and deep contemplation, I've come to the conclusion that, well, my outfit trumps them all. Thanks for the ideas, though.
Wow, those are some great costumes.
We absolutely loved it. And stay tuned because we have another awesome segment for you right after the break.
Watching the scope.
Fight on for Cinderella.
Right on.
Fight on.
Fight on for Frozen!
Fight on. Fight on USC.
Fight on. Fight on!
A lot of killer clowns this Halloween, but have you ever thought about medical clowning? This week's episode of Wacky Classes show how you can learn to become a medical clown here at USC and bring a smile to people's faces.
Welcome back to Wacky Classes. This week we're going to learn about medical clowning. Let's go find out what it's all about. What exactly is medical clowning?
Medical clowning is the practice of bringing clowns into hospitals or other places of healing to improve the lives of hospitalized patients through joyful interaction, improvisation, and play. And the way we do that is improvisation, exercises, mock hospital visits, where we learn how to interact and discover in ourselves how to play. Clown is a lot about failure. It's a lot about being expressive, being like an open book. What about us is the funniest? What about us is the most playful? And how do we share that as generously as we can with an audience? I think what's important is that it's kind of a paradigm shift. This might sound kind of cliche, but while doctors and nurses treat the sick part of the patient, there's a potential for a part of the patient that is being completely ignored. They become identified with their illness, right? They feel like their illness is a part of them and that hope is kind of lost. How do we deal with that and make sure that these patients are being seen, that they are being taken care of in that kind of emotional way and not forgotten? People, please join me in the revolution. Become a clown in the hospital and transform the healing experience once and for all. That only works if you can also hear the music. Can you hear the music?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much for coming out here and talking with us.
Thank you.
Wow. Real clowns are people who don't take this class. Well, I'm Max Jenkins, and back to you in the studio.
Wow, what a wacky class. I had no idea such a thing existed.
Me neither. And on the topic of clowns, Noah and I actually had a spectacular makeover last week with SCA student Annalise Palouse. They used their killer makeup art skills to transform us into frightful creatures, helping us get into the Halloween spirit. Let's take a look. Hey Trojans!
Happy Halloween.
We're so excited to be here today doing monster movie makeup with our friend Annalise from SCA.
All right, let's get into it.
Here we go.
Hey.
Hello.
So, how are you both doing?
Amazing. How are you feeling?
I am a little nervous. I do not know what's going to be on my face. I do not know what I'm going to look like after. And, you know, let's see what you can do.
Well, you are in good hands. So as I'm applying this base, I'm just making sure that it's even all over. Although having it be a bit undone would be totally fine just because you want that unhinged clown look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, clown.
See what now?
Get ready to be unhinged.
Clown?
Get ready.
Oh, wow. All right.
What kind of clown do you envision Noah's look resonating with today? What's his character?
I like the idea of him escaping the circus. Taking matters into his own hands to escape perhaps the people who are keeping him at the circus. Maybe Noah was not in the circus of his own will and decided to, take a jaunt.
You're looking like the best clown in town, just to let you know, Noah.
Thank you. I feel like I might be the only clown in town.
Wow, this is coming together so amazing. You're spooking me a little bit. Oh, the side eye.
I think we're ready for a reveal. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out.
Are you ready?
No, I'm not. Oh my god. Oh dear. Oh my goodness! Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Do you feel scary?
I do.
This is so cool. You gotta
Really
take
cool.
a selfie.
I do. How about this? I'll take a selfie when you have your makeup done.
Okay.
All right. Now, without telling us, I am quite curious as to how you're gonna change her face. Wait, is she also gonna be a clown or?
Not quite, no.
Not quite.
But I really want to do this makeup look because I want to demonstrate this technique to block out your eyebrows completely. So I'm going to start by removing what product you have on your brows. So it's a technique that a lot of drag queens use generally.
I want drag queen makeup.
And so...
Yes!
So now that we have a few layers of the glue on, I'm just going to let it dry a bit.
Okay. I've never had to let glue dry on my face before.
And what's great about this glue is that it's water soluble, so it comes off really easily, and it's really gentle on the skin.
Does this come off really easily?
So about that.
Sometimes I forget I have makeup on me. Just sitting here talking to you guys.
Don't make me laugh.
So now that we have that applied, I think you're ready to take a look.
Okay, here we go. I feel like a little bit damp in the face. Like I think it's still drying. Oh my goodness. I've never looked better. Did I just suck someone's blood or eat a jelly donut? You won't know.
You don't know. Yeah,
you don't know.
You'll never know.
This is so cool. Well,
Yeah,
thank you
fantastic.
so much.
You're welcome. This was a pleasure. It was great chatting with both of you too.
Yes, and thank you guys so much for watching. We will take it back to our episode of The Morning Brew. Happy Halloween.
Wow, what a great package. But let's talk about a little something more serious. On October 20th, the university shared a report of sexual assault at the Sigma Nu fraternity house. 8 students reported drugs being placed into their drinks during a party at the same fraternity house, leading to one known drug-facilitated sexual assault. Since Wednesday, the university has received additional reports of sexual assault, as well as additional reports of drugging or drugs being placed into drinks without consent. The new reports involve conduct during the fall semester at additional fraternity houses. Both the LAPD and the university are investigating the reports and will pursue action through law enforcement and campus disciplinary processes. The Los Angeles police confirmed that the now suspended president of Sigma Nu, Ryan Shiflia, is a suspect in the sexual assault case. On the 22nd, the Interfraternity Council voluntarily agreed to cease all social activities, and the university intends to enforce that pause until further notice. Sexual assault is not a new issue on our campus. In 2019, national reports show that 1 in 4 female undergrads said they were sexually assaulted on campus. At USC, this statistic is nearly 1 1/3. According to the AAU Campus Climate Survey, the prevalence of sexual assault among undergraduate students since entering USC increased from 2015 to 2019 for female students. It's worth noting that USC's prevalence rates of sexual assault for undergraduate women in 2015 were already the highest of all of 2015's participating schools. This indicates that the scope of sexual assault at USC is both wide and deep, and in need of sustained, comprehensive, prevention-oriented interventions. Now I'm going to turn it over to Jillian, who will be having an open conversation about this issue.
Hi Trojans, as we said at the start of today's show, we're going to discuss the recent protests against Sigma Nu's sexual assault allegations. So we're back with Trojan Vision's own Sophia Mazzella. Hi Sophia.
Hi Julian, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming and for talking about this really important issue, which I also know is important to you.
It is.
It really is. And I know and love you already, but can you tell the folks at home who you are and why this issue is so important to you?
Yes, so I am the showrunner of The Morning Brew. I work behind the scenes usually, but I decided to come out onto the show today to talk about this issue, which is very dear to my heart and something that I feel like is really needs to be reckoned with here on campus.
Well, thank you so much again for coming. I know it is a heavy topic, but
it is, yeah.
I think that you're the perfect person to talk with today, since you did in fact attend the protests.
I did, yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about the energy of those protests?
Yes, I attended the protests on Friday in front of Signu. The energy there was really incredible. I was not expecting how many messages were going to be there, written on the frat house, taped to the door and the wall. While I was there, you know, I added my message, people around me added more and more, and it was just so powerful to see those survivor stories on this place that was a place that marked the worst experience of many of these women's lives, being drugged or assaulted at the frat house. So reclaiming that space was a really powerful thing.
That is extremely powerful. I actually had a chance to go to yesterday's protest, and I saw a lot of similar messages of supporting and loving survivors and, you know, believing women, which is such an important thing for our campus to do. And since many of these protests happened on Greek Row, and a lot of people want to abolish Greek life, so no more fraternities or sororities, that's been very controversial as well. What are your thoughts on that?
I think this is a really important part of this conversation. I personally am not a member of Greek life, but I have gone to many frat parties and, you know, engaged with this part of USC. I think that the frat system as is should be abolished. It needs to be changed because it's been a breeding ground for assault. It's been a place that so many women I know have been unsafe, and it's almost a given that, you know, if you go to frat parties, you're putting yourself at risk. That said, I think that a lot of the language that's been targeted at sororities is unfair, and we have to remember that even if people are part of this larger, very problematic system, there may be women there who are survivors themselves who are also hurting. And so I think that targeting specific people is maybe not the most productive way to go about this issue.
I completely agree. It's a lot more nuanced than that. I think that we have to uplift all of the women who can be impacted by this. And just because there are women who are part of sororities doesn't mean that they're a part of the issue. A lot of them were actually out there protesting, is what you were telling me.
Yes, I actually met a couple women there who were part of sororities who were even dropping their sorority that day because they felt so strongly about this issue and they wanted to be a part of it. You know, I think that some people were silenced by their sororities, so I'm not saying that they're all working towards a positive change, but yeah, I think that they're definitely, it's nice to see them be a part of this and come out to support.
I completely agree, and at yesterday's protest as well, they had a lot of discourse in front of different fraternity houses on the row, and it was very peaceful, and people were able to stand up and share, and actually a lot of fraternity men came out and they talked as well, and they said, like, we understand you, we hear you, and it was great to see that they are taking action in a lot of ways and that they're going to stand above the brotherhood that has protected them from so many of these allegations. But speaking of the stigma around women and the shame, how do you think that we can continue to advocate for women on our campus and just anyone affected by sexual assault?
To me, the most important thing that I think we should take away from this time is that it's great that this is getting so much attention. It's great that people are finally waking up to this issue. This issue has been here, for years, before any of us were at USC. As a senior, I've been here for three plus years now, and this has always been a part of my time at USC. It's actually been something that has, being at USC has changed the way I think about these issues. It's made them a lot more personal. It's made these things hit a lot closer to home. So I think that we can't just, go back to seeing this as normal, go back to just accepting this as the way things are. We need to really run with this and try to use the media attention that we're getting right now to create a positive change.
I couldn't agree more. That was beautifully said.
Thank you.
And actually, we have some quotes that we wanted to share from survivors and people at the protest that you gathered, right?
Yeah, we have some footage from the protest that I think we want to play. Well, I know we want to play it. And so, yeah, let's take a look.
Let's take a look.
Pollock. I'm a sophomore attending USC. I am a sociology major, and I run an Instagram account called @a_path_2 Courage, and it's a grassroots organization that supports sexual assault advocacy and domestic violence advocacy as well. I'm here today showing my support so I can add to the wall not only like a list of resources for individuals who have been in positions like me, but also to show my support of how how disgusting and repulsive this behavior is and how it won't be tolerated anymore. I'm like to think that I'm like a voice of change and a voice of reason, which is why I'm going to write some posters posting resources for survivors to be able to call, and if they are struggling with this information like I know I am.
Rape happened. It's not something good, but we need to accept that it happened. We need to fight it. So everyone needs to say with me. We will stand against rape! We will stand against rape! There's no way for you to escape! There's no way for you to escape! If you don't have my consent! If you don't have my consent! You should fear this discontent! You should fear this discontent! We will scream! We will shout! We will scream! We will shout! They have no way out! They have no way out! Feminism! 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 A revolution on sexism! A revolution on sexism!
Well, Sophia, thank you so much for coming. I mean, I definitely learned a lot as well.
This was a very powerful day, and as the story continues to roll out, we'll have another episode next week and of course one tomorrow, so stay tuned, and as always, fight on.